Welcome to Following Passion Week. Today is Friday, and we are going to just take a minute to kind of slow down. And on Friday, what I want us to do is to work through the day on Friday of Passion Week, what was happening at each of the hours of the day, so that we can just kind of remember and focus on the timeline here. So if you were with us yesterday, we kind of stole some time yesterday. We talked about Jesus being in the Garden of Gethsemane and his prayer there. And it is after the prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane when Judas Iscariot comes and betrays Jesus and hands him over to the soldiers. And so we're kind of at midnight, past midnight now, where Judas comes and betrays Jesus with a kiss. We begin to see how the disciples react at that moment. They get upset. We even see where one account tells us that one of the disciples draws a sword and cuts off the ear of one of the soldiers, and Jesus says, "Don't do that. Do you not know who I am?" And you do, obviously. You don't have to do this. And so we begin to see that the soldiers arrest Jesus, and this is an interesting part of the story. And like I said, I'm going to try to slow down today, is that the disciples flee. They disperse. I think it's because they don't know what to do at this moment. And so they all just go their separate ways. And as we move on through the early hours of the morning, we get to about 3 o'clock. And Jesus is brought, 3 o'clock a.m., Jesus is brought to the high priest and to Caiaphas and the Sanhedrin. And it is at this time when they begin to have false accusations against him. And they get witnesses to come that are false witnesses to speak against him. And they are trying to conjure up some reason to kill Jesus. Remember, that's what they're going for, kill Jesus. And as Jesus is before the high priest, as he's before the Sanhedrin, I want you to remember Peter's story. Peter has the only disciple, or the disciple who is following Jesus. And as he enters into this area, he has three individuals ask him, "Aren't you one of the disciples with Jesus?" And you know the story. Peter denies that he even knows Jesus all three of those times, and the rooster crows. And then this is what we see, is that Peter remembers Jesus' words, and then he leaves, and he weeps bitterly, okay? And so all this is happening at 3 to 6 a.m., and we're at 6 a.m. now. The Sanhedrin has decided to condemn Jesus because of heresy. They take him to Pilate. So about 6 a.m., they take him to the governor, to Pilate. And it's before Pilate where Pilate begins asking Jesus questions. And Pilate realizes that Jesus has committed no crime. There's nothing for him to punish him for. And so Pilate is speaking to Jesus, and then he's got this crowd of people in front of him who are watching. And he says, "What do you want me to do with him?" And we see the shouts of the people because the Sanhedrin has stirred the people up, and they say, "Crucify him." And so Pilate, not really wanting to be a part of this, says, "Well, who do you want me to release?" It was a custom for him to release one of the prisoners. And they all shout, "Barabbas." And he says, "What do you want me to do with Jesus?" And they say, "Crucify him." And so all of a sudden we see a question that Pilate answers that all of us have to answer. And that is, what are we going to do with the truth of Jesus? Pilate wanted to wash his hands of Jesus and have no part in it, but that's not an option in life. You can't wash your hands of Jesus and just say, "I don't want any part of it," because how you trust, how you know what you think about Jesus, if you believe him or not, has to be answered by the individual. You have to answer that question. What will you do with Jesus? And so Pilate tries to put it off, and you can't do that. He sends him to be crucified. We see that he is taken by the Roman soldiers. He is beaten, he is scourged, he is spit upon, he is ridiculed, he is mocked. And we're at the 9 a.m.-ish hour at this point. They take him to the place where he's going to be crucified on the cross. We see another man carries his cross. They get up there, and they put Jesus on the cross. And above him is a sign that says, "King of the Jews." He has a crown of thorns. And they mock him because they say, "You can't even save yourself, but you call yourself a king." And then we see as it goes on, we're about noontime now. Jesus has been on the cross for approximately 3 hours. And it's at noontime where we begin to see the final 3 hours of Jesus' life on the cross. And in between 12 and 3, so we're at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. now, we begin to see Jesus say, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And when he does that, we see that Jesus breathes his last. We hear and we see the curtain is torn in two. We see that the bodies of dead men are raised and miracles take place. And the scripture is very clear that the Roman soldiers who watch this take place, they marvel and say, surely this was or is the Son of God. And y'all, that's the same kind of question that you and I have to answer. Is Jesus the Son of God? And the answer is, he is. Today is a dark, dark day. It seems as if evil has won. When Jesus dies on the cross, a man named Joseph asks if he can have Jesus' body. They say that he can. He takes Jesus' body down. He wraps Jesus' body in white linens and takes Jesus' body to a tomb that is cut out of the rock and places him in this new tomb and brings the stone over the entrance of the tomb. Piece by piece today, may we remember what happened to Jesus on the cross. May we remember what Jesus is accomplishing for us every second, every hour of his life. There is no part of his life that is accidental. There is no part of his life that is haphazard. Everything happened just so because he was providing salvation to us. Be thoughtful today. Be mindful today. And remember what Jesus has done for you. I'll see you tomorrow.